Hey guys, welcome back to the House of Wrinkles. So in our last video, we explained what happened to June, and we mentioned that something happened to Johnny. We're wanting to do this video completely separate because we're hoping that if someone is researching for this, that they can find this and get the answer. So on Friday, what was the date? What was the date?
Let's see.
Anyways, it's Friday
the
after
19th.
the 19th.
The 19th.
Johnny started having milk and things. He started regurgitating, and it was coming out of his nose a lot.
Well, it's like he would kind of sneeze and
Yeah, it was a very
belch,
aggressive sneeze.
and he would shake his head and just stuff would just come out of his mouth and his nose. It was traumatic.
Yeah, it was very traumatic. And it happened, it started on Friday and went all night long. So we took him to our vet on Saturday, Dr. Smith, down in North Jackson Animal Clinic. Best vet we've ever found, and I'll stand to that to any day. But he said, I think it's a sinus infection, so he gave us some antibiotics for him. We brought him home, and we started on antibiotics. Well, it didn't stop. It kept going and going and going. I mean, we're talking 4 to 5 times an hour, all night long.
And you can't
Well,
sleep.
there was about a 2-hour window between, and it would go, then it would calm down for about 2 hours. It would calm down after he eat, which was one thing that was throwing us off, and it would start about 2 hours later.
After he ate.
After he ate. So we went all day Saturday.
You can't sleep during this because
No.
when this happens, his little nose holes are so small that it's like he would quit breathing or he would choke on it, and you can't sleep. You had to stay up. Literally, somebody had to be watching him 24/7. When this happened, you had to grab him up and make sure he wouldn't choke, and it was so traumatic, and it was happening so often, and Eric and I were just exhausted.
Yeah. So it come down. We went all through Saturday, all day Sunday. Finally, Sunday night at 8:30, I said, "Listen, we got to figure out what's going on." So I rushed him to the ER. Sunday night at 8:30, I was there all night. Finally left at 3:30, and they really didn't have any answers for us. They started prescribing him all kinds of medications, and just hoping that everything was going to be good.
Yeah, nausea medicine,
just all kinds of
you
stuff.
name it. He was on at least 6 different medications.
It was
I think
4 or 5. I can't remember. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
we had a
little puppy,
notepad where we had to do scheduling and everything, but that was Sunday night into Monday morning. It happened all day long on Monday still. And all right, so we took him back on Monday night at 8:30, and she and I sat out there till 3:30 again. Still no answers. But we told him, we said, we're going to leave him here because we need answers. We need to know what's going on. So we left him, and the next morning there was a specialist. She was a very nice lady. She started doing some tests and seeing what was going on. And, of course, she tells us that it is cleft palate.
which our vet, the very first time we took him for this problem, checked him for cleft palate, and he had a tool that he uses to check for cleft palate, and he said he did not have a cleft palate. So,
But whenever she said cleft palate, we were like, okay, at least we know what's going on.
We just were happy to have an answer.
She said it's a very small cleft palate, said it can be fixed with surgery 6 months later. And I'm like, at least we know what's going on. We can make preparations, arrangements to try to keep him from. She said he's going to do it. We can try to keep him from doing it as much. So we're like, good deal. We're good to go. We can work through this. We can get through this. We know what's going on. So they actually kept him 2 nights to monitor him. And while he was there, he was still doing it. We picked him up, Wednesday morning, and brought him home, and it was right back to it over and over and over all night long. Thursday morning, we loaded him up and took him back down there again. So this is 4 or 5 trips to the doctor. But that morning, he done it 16 times within 2 hours. And we was going crazy. I didn't know
We
what
were
was
at
going
our
on.
complete wits' end. This is a puppy that he's not, let me just explain this. He's not throwing up his food, okay? His food is still staying in his stomach. What's coming up is some kind of fluid, does have a little bit of milk mixed with it, just barely, but he was still growing, he was still thriving, he was still playing.
He had a big appetite. He was
he was eating
having
like
his
crazy.
bowel movements. And one thing that was really throwing us off, every doctor that looked at him said,
It's
he's
a
a
healthy
healthy puppy. We don't know what. He's a healthy puppy. So on our way Thursday morning, I told Amber, I said, you know what? If he had a cleft palate, this would have been going on from day one. Why is this just now happening? Here he is. He was over 4 weeks at the time. Why is this just now happening? So we took him down there, and they monitored him. Didn't have any answers. I mentioned to them that our vet originally said sinus infection. They didn't really have much to say about that. And they kept him for a few hours.
I called Dr. Smith, our regular vet, before we went to pick him up because my fear was that we were going to pick him up and it was going to be the same thing over and over. So I called him to tell him. Meanwhile, the ER vet is sending our regular vet all of the
information, all the paperwork,
all the tests, everything they've done, everything that's prescribed, everything. They've sent it to our regular vet. So he goes over all the paperwork with me over the phone. He says, nowhere in the paperwork do they state anywhere that he has a cleft palate. Nowhere. The only thing they said about cleft palate was that a surgery was suggested in 6 months of age for them to repair a cleft palate. Or a soft cleft palate.
Soft cleft palate was what it was called.
But nowhere in the diagnosis did they say they found a cleft palate or that they're anything, nothing. And he said, I saw that puppy. I tested that puppy. He does not have a cleft palate, in my opinion. So here I am, like, okay, this puppy does not have a cleft palate. I mean, I just trust our doctor. What Eric said made sense. If he had a cleft palate, why wouldn't this be going on since day one? So we're getting in the car. We're going to get a puppy who we know is still sick. And we're thinking, what are we going to do? We're going to be up all night, every night.
We was just prepared for it to keep on going. They said it's going to happen. So long story short, if you're going through this, if you've made it this point, when we got home, it just all of a sudden come to me. I told Amber, I said, look up what milk does with a sinus infection. And sure enough, the first thing it says is dairy products. Do not take any dairy products with sinus infections.
It says that it's the worst thing for a sinus infection for you to drink. It says that it makes the mucus thicker and harder to get rid of. Yeah. It says that water is the best thing. So at this point, he's how old? Like 4.5?
At that point, he's 4.5 weeks old. And they told us, I called down there, they said he does not have to have, he's old enough now, he don't have to have the nutrition for milk. So I said, we're going to do regular kibble and water. That's it. We started from that moment on. That was Thursday of last week. Today is Monday. It hadn't happened the first time.
Not the first
time. So if you're going through this, there might be a sinus infection, a milk allergy, some kind of something. But if you're going through this, you're trying to find answers, go to water and kibble. Just softened kibble. We soak it in water for a long time.
For a few hours, we soak it in water. And
that backs up, or not backs up, that explains why, like our previous video, we're trying to tell you why we haven't uploaded a video in 2 weeks.
Because
we were doing that every single night.
Literally watching this little boy.
Yeah. And now he's a wild child. He feels so good. Come here, little man. Come here, little man. He's so happy. But anyhow.
He's a mess.
So moving forward, hopefully we can do more videos. We're not going to do as much. We've already passed the stage of showing you guys how to do the gruel. We apologize about that. Maybe we'll be able to do it next time. But if anybody has any questions about that, you know, we're always open to any kind of questions. So we'll probably try to do some short videos for them. I'm going to start uploading just little videos of them playing. If we come across some things where it's informational, we'll try to put something together. But there you have it.
And before we go, we're just going to say that originally little Johnny was named after Johnny Cash just because we were doing couples, you know, couple names and just
It's Johnny and June.
And so anyway, as you know, Johnny's last name is Cash. And after about several visits to the ER,
Thousands of
and
dollars.
thousands of dollars, we've decided that we might call him Cash.
Yeah.
Because it kind
This
of
is
fits.
Johnny, aka Cash. Right. We appreciate you guys for watching. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If this video helped, be sure to hit the like button and turn on the bell button to be notified of any future videos to come. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
We love y'all. Thank y'all for being patient with us. Thank you, baby. All right.